Hey guys, welcome back to the stream. After taking a break, resetting for a little bit, getting our water in, we will be proceeding to the next game of the day. Game 2 will be the ladies from Cerberus Ladies, which is, I think we're just going to call them Cerberus Ladies. And
Cerberus Ladies,
yeah. They'll be on the red side, and on the blue side will be AMGD.Knightress, no longer just Nitrous. And already into picks and bans, as you can see on your screen. On the blue side, it will be AMGD.Knightress, who will be banning away the Nico and Yumi. Meanwhile, for the Cerberus Ladies, it's going to be Aatrox and Zillion banned away. Aatrox.
Okay, man. Well, so for the Thai qualifiers, we saw the Ari was a special flavor. It seems that for this qualifiers, it's going to be the Nico and the Zillion. Not actually sure the motivations behind that, but they do get the ban, so the players probably know something that we don't.
I was actually super surprised that no one banned away Malzahar, because that's like a clawy sort of one-trick comfort pick. So the fact that it's up available is interesting to me, to say the least. Meanwhile, Jarvan will be picked away first, and I like that coming through from the AMGD.Knightress side, because the strength of Jarvan we saw in the previous game, very flexible in terms of item pass, but also brings a lot to the table in the form of engage potential, as well as the ability to protect your ADC.
Alright, what's it going to be again? Another Jarvan Sejuani matchup, so it's going to be, I think, pretty standard in current meta. We do see Caitlyn locked in, though, who was banned in the previous game. So we do have to see whether they go for a Silver. I think Silver's actually okay in Caitlyn, but
if it does come through, if it does come through, I'll talk about the matchup a bit more. But I like that they do lock away the Morgana, because you want to deny Caitlyn the combo of Caitlyn and Morgana. That lane is so brutally devastating. Like, if they hit the bind, you die. If you want to play passive, they will just shove you in and take plates, because Tormented Soul and put over Peacemaker is just so good for pushing in. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, called it. It's the Malzahar for the mid lane.
Would you like to share the secret Malzahar strat with the lovely audience?
If it works out, I'll like explain why it deals so much damage, but we have to see what it goes into as well, because open picking Malzahar is a comfort thing. Chloe is very okay with playing that matchup, but there are some matchups which is really bad against. One of them is actually Vladimir, which is you don't really how do I put it, harass Vladimir out that well.
Alright, so the question is whether or not Cerberus Ladies is actually going to be prepared for the pick of the Malzahar.
I mean, if we know about it, for sure they do, so.
Well, if they did their research, they probably do.
Yeah, that's true. Second ban phase coming through, it's going to be the Xayah lock, rather banned out, and the Karma in response from the AMGD.Knightress side. Looking to pinch out AD carry pool might just be the best option here, so if you're banning out the Xayah, you might as well ban out the Kai'Sa here. Yep, there you go.
Alright, so what else is good in Caitlyn? I think the Cerberus.
Cerberus not bad. If you want to talk about the matchup, I will go through it. Cerberus not bad, but the problem is when it comes to item spikes nowadays, because Caitlyn is gonna go for BF Sword into full AD when she does Infinity Edge, right? And then when she hits Infinity Edge, there is a small power trough that you are weak against the Cerberus, because Essence Reaver, like we mentioned earlier, although gives crit, gives damage, the utility is the mana. So you play a non-combative bot lane, you just wave clear. Permanently wave clear. You Q the wave and just ricochet.
I was gonna say Jinx, because I think Jinx is also pretty okay into
for the
Caitlyn.
later levels, yes, the early levels are kinda tough, because until you get your Q to level 3 or 4, I think, you don't outrange the Caitlyn. And this is another lane that still functions similar to Caitlyn Morgana, right? Caitlyn Nami. The moment you let Aqua Prison, you can chain it into the auto snap trap, and you proc the headshot, and then you get the put over Peacemaker after. So the lane is very synergistic when it comes to poking as well as all inning, but it's really weak against trying to dodge ganks. It sucks at dodging ganks. So especially on the red side, if you are pushing up and you're going up against a Jarvan, there's literally nothing you can do to dodge ganks pre-level 6.
Yeah, well, still gonna be pretty oppressive laner. We do see Urgot though, so Urgot we actually saw, I think, in the no, I'm thinking of something else.
I think it was FSL Thailand qualifiers. We saw the Urgot twice.
Oh, we saw it. Yeah, okay, great.
So the value of the Urgot here is that it's a safe, strong top laner, right? That regardless of matchup, you should be able to deal with pretty well, especially if you take the proper keystones. So if you need to, Conquer is fine. Otherwise, you want to go for Grasp is okay as well. So there are multiple ways you can. Oh, hold on. We are going to exit the lobby for a momentary pause here, as they are debating what their last pick is. I think there was a disconnect coming through actually. But the last pick is going to be Shen coming through. And alright, so I am informed that one of the players unfortunately doesn't have Shen. Maybe because she is a support player, so you don't buy the top lane champions. I don't know.
You can play Shen support.
Yeah. You could play Shen support, but we're not Lens. We're not LCK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right. So Shen into Urgot. That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shen into Urgot. And that's actually a really good matchup for the Urgot if you know how to play it right. It's skill matchup, of course, because the dodge zone from Shen actually denies all the damage from W. Like, you literally don't take any damage from W if you're inside the dodge zone. So if you play your cards right, you're actually decent against Urgot, but the range versus melee matchup kind of sucks earlier on. You're just gonna get shoved out.
I think it's more of a well, Urgot's trying to oppress you, but if you're Shen, you can just play defensively.
Yeah,
like if he flips you over, you just dash right back out. So I think this top lane matchup is actually just gonna come down to skill. So that's the most important thing. Another lane I'm gonna talk about is the bot lane, because you did see the Varus Morgana come through. Ideally, with the Varus, you would maybe want something more defensive, like something you can defend the Varus with. I'm not sure if Morgana hits the same marks, but if played well, I think she should be relatively effective.
So what we saw yesterday in the LCK, and I wanted to point this out because it's almost what I expect to happen. You take Varus into a mediocre matchup, which is a bit tricky, a bit tough, but you play the Arcane Comet Varus, and you just function as utility and poke. What you do is you build lethality, you take Arcane Comet, and you win the lane by just poking out your opponents, like non-stop poking. In the moment Morgana lands a Dark Binding, you Q. Like, the moment you guys have a window to all in, you go for it, because you have so much more CC and upfront damage as opposed to standing trades, right? You don't want to stand there and auto attack and trade the Caitlyn. You just want to Q and walk out. So when it comes to playing that matchup, that's how it's going to work out, and that's how I expect it to work out if they want to win this lane. If they play standing trades, they're actually going to lose out, because Caitlyn Nami is much more efficient when it comes to taking standing trades.
Yep, Caitlyn Nami's gonna be gonna try to oppress like Urgot's trying to do with Shen. So I think you're right. I think Varus Morgana just wants to play a bit more defensively, look for those sorts of pokes. I think they can do that actually.
Yeah, the lethality option is actually really good, because the moment you snowball, like the moment you pick up a kill, right, or you have a small item lead, because the goal and item breakpoints are different. For Varus, it's 1.1k for the Serrated Dirk. For Caitlyn, it's 1.3k for a BS Sword. So if you get Jarvan to gank before the item window, if you get a buy and Caitlyn doesn't, you actually straight up just win the lane. You win the lane from there and you snowball. Like, the moment she comes back with a pickaxe and you have Serrated Dirk, the lane is over. You don't win anymore if you play it properly. So that's the strength of playing lethality, Varus with Arcane Comet in the bot lane.
Right. We're back in the Champ Select. Woo! Remake.
Aatrox is going to be banned out.
Oh man.
We're not going to see Aatrox today, guys. I think, especially 9.16, the value of the Aatrox is much higher than we expected.
Right, this Aatrox business is distracting me way more than it should.
Aatrox? What about Aatrox?
Aatrox, innit? Aatrox. Oh man.
AAT-Rox.
This is gonna be a long day, innit?
Alright, so same band's coming in. See the Nico, which we were not expecting. I'm kind of curious why so many teams are valuing the Nico now, because sure, she does function as a flex pick in mid and top, but her value is very much greatly diminished.
Yes.
I think some teams are worried about her strength as a blind pickable. I think that's what they're scared of, because right now the only blind pickable champions that I talk about in top lane are pretty much Gnar, Kennen, and occasionally Jace, right? That's the ones I always bring up. And I think Nico might just join the ranks soon when it comes to this patch of priorities.
What about Vladimir though? I think Vladimir is also something you can sort of blind pick.
You can't blind pick it into anything because Vladimir is so bad against stuff like Gangplank. Like, you just get bullied out, you brutalized by Gangplank. You get bullied out by press the attack cannon. Yeah, Vladimir sucks against press the attack cannon, so a lot of these champions, like, the reason why Kennen and Gnar are good because they're so flexible in pathing, item pathing as well as keystones, right? You can play AP Kennen with PTA, or you can play AD Kennen with PTA, or you can play AP Kennen with Klepto. So the flexibility is the true strength of these blind pickable top laners.
Alright, meanwhile, we're not gonna see much, we're not gonna see any variation here. It's just gonna be a last pick Shen. We should be getting in the game soon. So,
the mid lane matchup is actually really difficult for Chloe here, because they have no CC to speak of up to level 6 against the Vladimir. So although you do get some early lane prio, at level 7 it starts to equalize out, and Jarvan can't really do anything in mid lane. Like, when it comes to ganks, Jarvan and Sejuani are not going to be able to do much in that 2v2. So I would highly advise actually that they split the map. Jarvan should be playing to his bot side, and Sejuani should be playing to top side because of the passive. Shen can proc permafrost pretty well, you do alleviate some of the pressure from the Urgot, and if Shen is a hit, we all know the global pressure that brings.
100% agree, but even despite that, I think one thing you said, it's one thing for the junglers not to bother with the mid lane, but it's another thing to say they might not have enough impact in the game.
Right.
This is a matchup that can actually decide the game because it's gonna involve you're gonna involve priority and a lot of damage to come through for both these champions.
When you look in the mid lane, it's not so much like getting kills. It's about whether you can keep up in CS, get turret plates, and get priority, right? Because when it comes to Jarvan Sejuani, they do take decent 1v1s. I think Jarvan's slightly ahead in terms of the value that he brings in 1v1 skirmishes. In the mid lane, or rather when mid lane is concerned, the priority that you do have is what allows the Jarvan to pass quick through. Because if your lane is pushed up, Jarvan just cuts through mid lane. So you're going to be earlier to objectives, you're going to be earlier around camps, and you have a higher speed and tempo, effectively. Whereas if you are behind, you kind of have to detour. Like, for example, say you're on blue side, and you're getting shoved in. You can't walk through mid tier 1. You have to walk through just behind Raptors. And that sucks, because you're going to be late to Scuttle Crab if you're contesting. You're going to be late to a bot lane gank if you want to make it a counter gank or a proactive gank. So that's why the value of mid priority is so important when it comes to having Jarvan's impact on the map be felt.
Well, for the most part, I think we're still in agreement that both these junglers want to split the map, right? Like you said, I think Jarvan top side? No,
Jarvan plays bot side, yeah. So like I said, the item breakpoint, if you have Varus at this point, your item breakpoint should be 1.1k. If you're playing lethality with Arcane Comet, Jarvan comes down at, let me think, what is the timing? I think somewhere around 450 to 520 is good to make that item timing happen. So if you can find a window of about 45 seconds from 430 to maybe 520, if you get that window timing down, you hit the gank and you force Caitlyn to back off. She doesn't get BF sword, Varus gets serrated Dirk, you just win bot lane, and then you play through that. But that's me theory crafting what the ideal way to play this matchup is. For all intents and purposes, the bot lane might just go lethal tempo and try to take standing trades in the bot lane.
Alright, well, might see a Fiesta.
Yeah, for the most part, every time I say, oh well, this is how the team should play the game, this is the ideal way to play, and they just like go and do something else. I'm like, why, guys?
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, it's killing me slowly, Chufan. It's killing me.
Okay. Where do I even go from there, man?
What do you think the win conditions are? I always like to ask this because I feel like I talk about lane matchups a lot. I like to defer to your opinion when it comes to win conditions. So let's walk through the both sides of rather both compositions in this game. What are the win conditions here coming through for AMGD.Knightress?
Well, for Knightress, I think you want a team fight. If you have the Urgot, you have the beefy front line that does quite a lot of damage. I think it's a good brawler. Malzahar can lock down the AD carry or whoever's the real threat, except for maybe Vladimir. So I think if you're Knightress, you're okay just taking the mid-game team fight
as their primary win condition.
Definitely, because that's where your damage comes through in the mid-game, and your team composition allows you to play that team fight very effectively, so that's something that you can look for.
And if they fail, the secondary win condition, like we always defer to, is the ability to make picks when we see Varus, Malzahar, Morgana, these sort of skill-shotty champions. Or Malzahar, not so much, but like Varus, Morgana, right? The power of throwing a skill shot out, and if it connects, you find an instant pick. That's always valuable, right?
Yep. If we look on the side of what was the other team? Oh man,
Cerberus
ladies. Yes, my bad.
You're gonna get fined. Put $1 in the jar. Put $1 in the jar.
Oh man. Okay.
Cerberus ladies.
Cerberus ladies. Right. All right. So what they want to do, I think they're also pretty okay looking at the team. Right? You got the Sejuani, you got the Vladimir, you got the Shen. I think Shen just jumps in with on the backs of anyone else. Vladimir actually should be able to play the side lanes later on in the mid game. So a 1-4 is definitely sort of possible for them. Overall, both these teams are okay taking a team fight, and like we talked about secondary win conditions, Knightress wants to look for picks, and Cerberus ladies wants to go for maybe the 1-4. Maybe.
Yeah. Possibly 1-4 here with either the Shen with the global pressure, or the Vladimir who can, if he gets to that point, no one's really going to be able to answer the split push. You guys didn't see this, but in the loading screen, I kind of died a little inside as I saw the Varus pick up the lethal tempo. This is going to be a sucky lane for Varus Morgana, because standing still and taking standing trades, when I say standing trades, I'm referring to the idea of AD carries just sitting in position, auto-attacking each other, right? That's what a standing trade is. And if you take standing trades against Caitlyn Nami, it's going to be really tough for you to output any sort of meaningful damage, right? not only are you going to be susceptible to sitting on a trap, but the Aqua Prison as well as the slow from Tightcaller's Blessing are all problems that you have to deal with.
Yep, so overall we're gonna predict that, the Varus Morgana are gonna lose this lane. I think that's what you're alluding to here. So one thing that we did not talk about is we talked about win conditions, but we didn't talk about when both these compositions are strong. Like we did say Knightress is stronger in the mid game when Malzahar and Varus both come online. But I think if you're on the side of Cerberus ladies, you wanna wait out until Caitlyn's out of the power trough and Vladimir picks up those items where both these damage threats can become huge in the late game.
Early shenanigans on the board right now. It's a ward that's going to spot out this invade. Have to be very careful. Counter ward onto the Raptors there. And like we said, that's the replacement to the old Pixel Brush ward to reveal the jungler's position after the first camp.
Yep, not much action. We see the Shen going into the enemy jungle place ward. They're gonna find the Urgot here.
This is super proactive, but she's gonna be taking a good deal of damage on the way out. And what I mean by super proactive is that they want to spot out whether the buff to buff gank is going to happen. This was something that we saw in the previous game where you take 2 camps and then you try to gank topside to cheese out your opponents with the timing. Right now it's going to be a bot lane or bot side clear rather coming through from the Sejuani.
Both these junglers actually just gonna stay on the bot side. I think just gonna wait out the wards to expire if you're Jarvan at the moment. I don't think you're gonna be able to go for a cheesy gank in the bot side like we usually see.
Hail of Arrows was the first skill taken here by a Varus player. Junglers, like you mentioned, playing towards the bot side a lot more. We'll do a full clear and hit to the top half. I think if she paths towards that side, she will get spotted out by the Raptor. Oh, hold on, pause coming through here. A bit unfortunate, but like I said, if she hits towards the Raptor camp, I think the ward there is gonna reveal her location, so that's gonna provide the enemy some information about where the Jarvan is.
Yeah, 100% right now we do see a pause, so we're just gonna have to wait and see where this Jarvan goes. We did see he was thinking if he should take the Raptors or he should go the long way around, so that's gonna be moderately interesting.
Meanwhile, I think Sejuani moving to Wolf and then to the top side, they might just both arrive at the top lane at the same time. And when it comes to the 2v2, I'm tempted to give the advantage over to the Urgot Jarvan.
Yep, they certainly do bring more damage to the table, especially this early on in the game. But if Sejuani is able to land those crucial stuns, I think it's a bit more balanced. Jarvan here actually going to get spotted as he takes the Raptor camp.
This is a problem right now. So if you're Caitlyn Nami, you actually can play more aggressively in the bot lane, knowing that Jarvan is actually quite a distance away. I want to pay more attention to the Sejuani wasn't spotted there heading to the top side, so information play and information advantage goes the way of Cerberus ladies here.
Yep, Urgot doesn't know that, so he just continues pushing up. Definitely has a priority in a range versus melee matchup, so this can be a window where Sejuani can pass towards the top
Count
side.
the number of minions. This is going to be shoving towards the red side, and there's a window of danger here. If you're the Urgot, you have to respect this. Remember, no ward in the river means that she is susceptible to a gank right now.
She's coming.
Sejuani pathing up to the Tri-Brush, and this should indicate to the enemy that she's going for a ward. Now has to be careful. Oh, the taunt missing is so unfortunate. As they try and come in for the gank, Arctic Assault not connecting either, but going back in with the disdain, a good deal of damage down to Permafrost onto the Urgot, and the Conqueror proc. It's actually pretty good damage in return, so she takes as much as she can give, and it forces away the Shen.
Yep, that was an interesting trade. Urgot going in for a bit more. I think that was she definitely won out the 1v2. Even allows Jarvan to go for the Scuttle Crab, taking away from Sejuani. So a small advantage to Knightress.
I could see the logic though, because the Sejuani wanted to be early to the play. If she was there when the Jarvan arrived, they would have been disastrous, so they were a bit too tempted to brute force it. Meanwhile, good Aqua Prison landing, return damage coming through.
Yeah, we're just gonna see. But actually, we're seeing Varus and Morgana push up towards the Caitlyn, despite Caitlyn's oppressive lane. So that's something that we didn't really expect.
Oh, there you go. First blood already going down on the bot side. Meanwhile, Bind isn't going to connect onto the Nami, and the return damage is good. And guess why that gank happened? It was because Jarvan walked into the mid lane and threw down the Master Standard. And the counterplay is to, well, we're just going to all-in bot lane if Jarvan isn't here. I told you that this is going to be a really tough lane for Varus and Morgana if they don't take the proper keystones and play this one outright. Now this is a lost lane for Varus because there's no way you can take standing trades anymore, and you're going to get shoved in and poked out.
Hell yeah, I mean, you don't even have summer spells right now if you're this Varus, so you're just feeling really bad. Maybe you should have listened to Hungry's advice, but as it stands, Cerberus's bot lane doesn't have many summer spells either, only the flash on Caitlyn. So they should have priority here, and Jarvan might come for a gank later on.
Yeah, the top side on for AMGD.Knightress is the strong half of the map.
Yep.
Managing to fend off a 2v1 gank right now, just shoving up and cheating out the recall. So neither of these top laners will be needing to use their teleport unless the first one to play chicken uses it. So it's pretty much a game of, yeah. So if Urgot teleports back, Shen has to teleport back right now. It's a game of chicken essentially. Otherwise you just lose the wave.
Shen's actually just... I think he's just gonna walk back.
Oh man,
so
this is
he's gonna take the wave.
So how this is gonna trickle down is that you're gonna lose a wave. Urgot is gonna hit level 6 first because she denied you about a wave of CS, and there is a window where she can all-in you at level 6 if she wants to.
Right. So Johnny's just gonna be shadowing the mid laner for a little bit. Not gonna see much, like you said. Going for a mid lane gank right now isn't something that is very possible. So yeah, so Johnny's just gonna walk around for now.
Like I said, mid lane, there's literally nothing you can do between these two because you come in for the gank, right? Your Arctic Assault is just gonna proc the spell shield, and best case scenario, you land a slow with the flail. That's about it, right? And then what is Vlad gonna do? Just walk up and kill you like, dude, there's nothing you can do in the mid lane. Just don't even bother walking in the mid.
Close circuit.
Yeah, just secure the lane prio and then play towards bottom top.
Yep, as it stands, though, lane priority in the mid lane, Vladimir has that over the Malzahar. So that signals to me that Sejuani can go towards that dragon and place down some ward. Unfortunately, it is a Cloud Drake, so it's not of the highest priority at the moment.
I'm surprised that Caitlyn backed off to get a pickaxe, but I'm certain that this is more or less a executive decision to get an early power spike in terms of damage so they can still push the lead. Meanwhile, Varus did go for the Cull as well as the longsword, so we'll be looking to cash out that item. The stonks. You've seen that meme? Stonks.
It's my favorite meme of the year so far, so
yeah. Looking for the stonks, the Cull. Topside though getting shoved in pretty heavily because of the EXP lead. So of course the Urgot is going to have full prio in that lane, and nothing much that the Shen can do. Even when you want to use the Stand United now, you have to be very careful about your positioning. So it's one of the threats that the Urgot experience advantage brings to the table. Meanwhile, Jarvan is going to find Sejuani here. Didn't go for the Conqueror, so she's going to be afraid taking these extended trades. Normally you go Electrocute to get very quick burst damage in these trades. You want Conqueror when you want to duel out the Sejuani. So without Conqueror, there's no way that she can take these 1v1 trades in long term.
And here comes a bit of vision clear coming in from, wait, hang on, they're gonna go in.
Using the Golden Aegis to land the slow onto the Vladimir. Not necessarily the best idea as the Stand United comes through. They're looking to back out of this one as the taunt will be flashed away from Chloe. The next target but is going to be able to float on out. And once again, falling behind in CS is the Shen using the Stand United a bit too preemptively there, you might have to say. Just on edge.
That was way too wasted from the Shen. Now you're gonna lose a wave, you're gonna lose a decent chunk of health on this turret. The Sejuani's not gonna be able to defend. And Shen's just gonna have walked up there.
So here's my point. If you didn't want to use the teleport early to get back into the lane, and you want to use Stand United so frivolously, what are you going to do with the teleport now? How are you going to impact the map? Because for all intents and purposes, Stand United is a better version of teleport. You attach to a teammate, it's almost impossible for you to miss-time the position if you're on your teammate, and if you can arrive with the Stand United, you just bring that much more impact, right? What are you going to do with the teleport now? You can't get advantage because you can't push against the Urgot. You can't go to the bot lane because you're Shin. What do they do here?
They go for this gank.
Trying to make this gank happen, landing the taunt on the Urgot, but I don't think that's the target you want. Permafrost is gonna keep her held up as the counter teleports are coming in. Here comes the Malzahar with the Malefic Visions as well as the ultimate, and there you go, the Fear Beyond Death might just be enough. The pull though following through, the damage onto Chloe as well as the Urgot. Run ladies, run! Ugh. Barely not making it under turret as they trade 1-4 on the top half, but multiple teleports being expanded.
Yeah, that was good backup coming from both sides, I think. Chloe with the crucial Malefic, what was it? Suppress, I think, you know. But at the end of the day, at the moment, Cerberus does bring more damage to the table, and in the end was able to take that fight. In the bot lane though, we do see a bit of a trade coming in, rooted on the Nami.
Moving forward the damage, a good Soul Shackles to counter that the engage though. will force the heal out. So 2 summoner spells being burnt for 3. It's a net gain being picked up from the bot lane of Cerberus ladies.
Yep, just a few more trades going back and forth right now. Interesting to see that the Caitlyn's actually being pushed back though, as we see Jarvan trying to take a turret plate by himself in the mid lane. He actually manages to do it though, so that is some gold to the jungler. In exchange for his blue buff. I mean, this is a next level jungle strat going on.
At least you get some turret plating in the mid lane, but yeah, like you said, he loses the blue buff, and Claw, you won't feel too bad about that one with the hold on gang coming in here, the pool being used to become untargetable, and that means that Cataclysm cannot be cast. But like I said, Claw, you won't be too upset with the blue buff being stolen because it has picked up the Lost Chapter already. Sitting once more on the top side is the Sejuani Bulbasaur coming in for the gank, the taunt landing onto the Urgot. Disdain being used for the shield and to flip the Shin back into range. Meanwhile, the Permafrost coming out to hold her in place just for a second longer. The Chilling Smite will follow up for more CC. Bunch of slows through, but insufficient damage to confirm the kill. Focusing a lot on the top side is the Sejuani, but so far failing to fully convert on these 1v2 ganks.
I mean, at this point, the Urgot is 30 CS up on the lane partner and a kill. So this Urgot is actually pretty strong in comparison to the Shen. So when you want to go for these ganks, you have to force it perfectly, or the Urgot's just gonna get away, or worse, even
find
get
a return kill. Yeah, that's the nightmare right there. And Jarvan Shen here gonna move to the top side. Will not sweep out this ward because she doesn't have a sweeper. And this is my gripe with junglers. If your second recall you haven't picked up a sweeper, you can imagine that most of your ganks won't be happening. And this is a misplay. This is definitely a misplay. She goes through under the turret with the Cataclysm and has to walk away. Wasted ultimate there, not even really getting anything done against the Shen.
Yep, Shen was able to get the information that, Jarvan is there, but one thing we have to look at is Jarvan. She's been looking for ganks all over the place when your lane is pushing up. So that's something that we have to ask this, why are you trying to go for these sorts of risky ganks?
Then they're looking for turret platings at the moment, but the problem is against a Shen, you can't really sit under a turret and siege because of the taunt. Right now, the Nether Grasp on the mid lane, a flail, a miss, and a stopwatch being used. Chloe now held up under the turret, but the Permafrost is going to give the kill over, and what a miss from the Glacial Prism, but it's fine because the damage from the Vladimir is sufficient to get the kill, and now they're going to get return turret plates in the mid lane with the Demolish.
As someone who's been playing Sejuani a lot, I felt that in my bones. So it was a little tilting, but we see you find the bot lane.
Yeah, find the bot lane. So Shackle's being used on top of the Caitlyn, and the Stand United coming through to protect her for a second longer. Meanwhile, they're gonna disengage here. The teleport in return. Ace in the hole will be blocked out by the Urgot.
They're going down for this gank.
Oh man, it's a 5-man party in the bot lane, and now the sweeper is gonna find that control ward. They taunt up the Urgot, and the spell shield though will keep her safe. Meanwhile, Shen having to back off, not getting caught out by the Fear Beyond Death. The Fear Beyond Death in! Oh man, I don't know how that landed, but somehow it did connect, and now they have to back off. There's only 3 members here in the lane as Sejuani's just gonna walk away. I think it was the piercing arrow that chipped her down low enough for them to reactivate the Fear Beyond Death.
Party in the bot lane goes to the side of Nitrous here. Picks up a kill on the mid lane. Vladimir putting him slightly behind as Malzahar has some time to get back the advantage that Vladimir had before.
Air Drake now is going to be the prize for that counter collapse in the bot lane, but I think contesting is the side of Cerberus ladies. Nope, they're just going to back off knowing that the objective is too low. They even sacrifice control ward over, so it's a present on top of the Rift, the Ocean Dragon. Oh, excuse me, Cloud Dragon.
Cloud Dragon, some wards, and a bunch of turret plating in the mid lane. So pretty worth coming in from the side of Nitrous now. About only about 200 gold a hit. So gold isn't actually the gap isn't that big.
Yeah, it's
right
not
now.
that big of a discrepancy. But looking for a play here in the bot lane, the bind just barely whiffing past the Caitlyn. You can see Chen just sitting on the wings. Cataclysm available, looking to make the gank happen. Remember, this electrocute job actually brings a good deal of upfront damage to these plays.
Okay, they're doing this again.
Yep, just trading on the top side, but there you go. The sort of dodge zone from Shen negates a lot of the damage from the Purge. Meanwhile, moving forward, doesn't have the Fear Beyond Death. Urgot cannot chase for that kill. Will just be content shoving the Shen out.
Yep, Urgot right now just gonna stack on stronger 2-0-0 and still about 30 CS ahead. So this is a very strong Urgot. We shouldn't see Shen coming back into this lane anytime soon. Okay, Jarvan trying for a lane gang though.
Looking to creep into the lane with the control ward, and the binding not hitting onto the Nami though. It's a bit of a wasted skill shot. It lures them into a false sense of security in the bot lane as Jarvan is still waiting on the wings for a gank to happen.
Yeah, Jarvan at this moment, he's gonna be waiting a while since Nami and Caitlyn are actually just
clearing out wards.
In the river. There's a lot of wasted tempo for, for the Jarvan. You could be doing it, you could be farming, or even ganking another lane at the moment.
It's fine, there's a Sejuani here is trying to make the gank happen to flash away from the bot laners, but meanwhile counter teleports coming in. The first one to arrive is going to be Chloe with the Nether Grasp onto the AD carrier. It should be enough to confirm the kill. Just as I say that, they're going to walk away. Meanwhile, the stopwatch being used by the Morgana to buy some space. They get the kill onto the Caitlyn and they back off. But the Vladimir is in no man's land and it's going to be the Varus that claims the kill. Once more, the counter teleports that much more impactful up front from the side of Knightress.
I mean, did you see Knightress's teleport in? Chloe, the moment they engaged, that teleport came down, and that crucial few seconds between the teleports really made a difference as Knightress does pick up the advantage.
Like I said, the first one to arrive is Chloe, and the immediate impact is so high because Nether Grasp is not only a suppression, but it turns the fight in your favor because it denies so much area below the target as well. For those of you that don't know, the Nether Grasp AoE below is actually a percentage health zoning tool. So if you stand on it, you actually take, I think, like 5%, 4% of your max health every second.
Oh, that hurts, man. Right, meanwhile, at the top side, Urgot's just continuing to push in, but nothing interesting to see up there at the moment.
This lane is so brutal for Urgot because even though you do accrue quite a big lead in terms of CS and items, there's nothing much you can do to chip away at this turret against Shen. Because of your short range, right? You try to walk up and purge the turret, Shen walks up and taunts you, and then you end up taking counter damage. So, very tricky when it comes to pressuring out the Shen in the top side.
It's fine, you're this far ahead on Urgot. Shen's the one feeling the pressure right now. He doesn't want to be in this lane. When Shen leaves, you push up to the turret, you're a very happy crab.
Just like 3 armor items in, there's nothing I want to do here. 2 armor items, sorry.
Now he's leaving. Yeah. You can push up to the turret. Ish. No, he's back.
Oh, you're gonna get the Rift Scuttle. Or excuse me, Scuttle Crab there.
But the main idea of this Urgot getting so far ahead, though, even though she isn't gonna be doing much in this lane, she's gonna be very, very big in these team fights. We see a gank here, though. Sejuani doesn't want this Urgot.
There's no way it's gonna happen. There's a ward in the tri-rush, so Urgot is just gonna back off. And me on the bot lane, call has been completed. All the stacks have been used up, and cashing in the stonks is the Varus. Mucho's gold in the pocket, meanwhile damage onto the Shen here once being used, Fear Beyond Death rather, excuse me, being used to chip down the Shen. Counter again coming in from the Sejuani to make sure that this Urgot player isn't feeling a bit too handsy.
Yeah, you can see Urgot's like, okay, can we get this over with right now? He just tries to go in for the Shen. Unfortunately, Shen is a bit too tanky for him to take enough damage to go below the threshold at the moment, so does survive, is able to defend his chart for a little while. In fact, does have this TP, so if she is forced to go back to base, can come back.
Has Stay United as well to rejoin the fights, but the issue here is that the gank is coming in from the Sejuani and there's no more Fear Beyond Death. There's nothing they can do to counter this play. It's a shutdown going the way of the Sejuani, and perhaps the goal could have been better in the pockets of the Shen, but nevertheless, will belong to the the Cerberus side. Meanwhile, Shelly's gonna be taken by AMGD.Knightress. They trade the top laner for the Rift Herald. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, 3-0-0 Sejuani actually does a fair bit of damage, especially in this stage of the game. We see a root though.
Chains of Corruption as well as the Soul Shackles. This is a super date Caitlyn in the bot lane, and Nami just has to saunter away. And traditionally, this matchup would have gone very well in the favor of the Caitlyn Nami, but because of the party in the bot lane and the counter ganks, it's just been so difficult for them to convert the advantages.
Yeah, and like we were talking about champion select, right? Their secondary win condition is the pick that they were able to find on the Caitlyn, who was way too overextended for her own good at the moment.
Right now, they should be looking to focus on the mid lane as all the outer turrets have been taken. So you get mid lane prio, and I'm talking about AMGD.Knightress by the way. Get mid lane prio so you can journey into the jungle to get a vision line established at this point.
Cloud Drake.
Oh, Second man. Cloud Drake.
Yeah, you're just feeling a bit unfortunate if you're Knightress right now. You
the
see
RNG
Cloud Drake.
The RNG in the previous game was actually pretty good. The first 3 Drakes were I think Mountain, right? So that was pretty sick.
Alright, they, like you said, they're going into the bot side river to, you know, they're not even going to put down some wards, they're just going to take the dragon and walk away.
Yeah, there's actually nothing much that, oh, hold on, I have to be careful about the positioning here as the binding is going to land in the Nether Grasp on top of the Sejuani. The bubble though, not connecting the Aqua Prison isn't enough. Huawei is going to secure the kill with the Malefic Visions, and 1-2 into the mid lane of AMGD.Knightress has been relatively on point with securing the lockdowns. No one paying the tax of QSS right now just yet from the Cerberus ladies. Always got to pay the tax, ladies.
Alright, with Herald coming down in the mid lane though, should be able to get this turret no problem.
Vladimir trying to clear the wave out, and Ace in the Hole will come through onto the Morgana, but honestly, nothing really much done there to dissuade the push as the second charge is going to come through. Meanwhile, Magnetify on the top side, not worth looking at. The mid lane inhibitor turret is where the story is at. The bubble into two members though might just signal for them to go in as they immediately pick off the Nami, and now the Caitlyn is the next target. 4 members strong walking forward, but the Hemoplague is actually pretty good and in a position to turn this fight around. We have to be careful though as Claudia and company run away. Teneshiri has to be very cautious of her positioning as the rest of the team strike forward. Blast Cone though will get her out. I didn't think that they were going to chase all the way through after they picked off the Morgana, but a bit bloodthirsty there was the play in the mid lane.
Decision was made to keep Argon in the top side, so they knew that they probably could disengage without any issues. So right now we just see, what was it, one support of the Morgana for nothing really. So.
I think they picked up the Nami response and they got the mid inhibitor turret, but still, I mean, a decent trade when you look at the grand scheme of things. It's a net plus, considering that now the mid inhibitor is open and ready for the taking.
Right now, if you're Cerberus ladies, you do have a bit of advantage. You do have a bit of priority over the dragon. Oh man, Baron though, so you can put down a few wards to, you know, sort of dissuade Nitrous from going for that objective for now at least.
Control ward behind the Baron in a precarious position, a bit hard to clear if you guys are unfamiliar. If you're clicking through to clear that ward, you end up auto-attacking Baron like 50% of the time. It's the most frustrating ward to have to clear, but still works.
Right, as it stands, we see Cerberus ladies going towards the top side, trying to take the turret. Gold lead this time a bit more pronounced over to the side of Nitrous 6k.
Ward's being cleared out still pretty well from the Cerberus ladies side, as the top tier one is eventually going to fall. Walking forward rather aggressively, posturing like she has company behind her, but eventually the turret is going to go down. You know, Scar's Orb is going to spot the Sejuani on the flanks.
Yep, and now that it's past 20 minutes and Caitlyn does get her IE, her power has gone down significantly. Right now, if you're Cerberus, you just have to wait for this Caitlyn come back online later on in the game when she hits more items, but the Zeal items that she needs to really get the damage going.
Taking the red buff away. Oh, this is a precarious position. You don't want to be right here. Landing the Aqua Prison. A good deal of damage down as the Black Shield comes out, re-engaging with the flag and drag onto the back line. Now they decide better against it as they back off. Finally clearing out the control ward there. They didn't want to handshake that fight because Clawy was in the mid lane, so would have been relatively disadvantageous to say the least.
Yeah, but we did see Qian try to go in for a bit of a re-engage. So one thing we have seen from this player in particular is her drive to just keep going. So I think that's something that can be punished, if not in this game, maybe the next one.
You know, Jarvan players for today have displayed a propensity to go all in sometimes when they shouldn't, and that's been the death of them for more than I'm comfortable with. You know, Chloe is just gonna put pressure down on the mid inhibitor, like you say. No turret means that Prio is very easily garnered in the mid lane. It has to be the Vladimir that goes back to defend the push.
Good news though if you're Lich Chen. Now at this point you have your Ninja Tayabai, you have your first tanky item. You are able to withstand the barrage that Urgot tries to throw at you, so you can sit in that side lane and try to contest him when he pushes up.
Yeah, but you just compare the items though. If you talk about Shen finishing the first core item, Vladimir has almost nothing to her name.
Oh man.
It's a Seeker's Armgut and a Proto Belt. Like, Proto Belt is barely an item. It's a super cheap entry sort of starter item. It only costs about 2.8k. She's nowhere near to core strength yet, where you can come into these fights as Vladimir actually output damage. It's a big problem right now if you're Cerberus ladies.
Yep, so at this point, you know, your Caitlyn isn't doing very well. Your
one core item
isn't doing well at all. So you don't have damage if you're Cerberus ladies. You don't want to look for a fight. You want to wait for your laners to, you know, farm up before you go for the engage.
And now second item, Stopwatch, is not the best pick if you're looking to be in the thick of it at all. Sure, it buys you some more time, but the AP is negligible at this. I would have preferred a Spellbinder, to be honest. That would have amplified her damage quite significantly in these fights. Like if you're Vladimir and you're going in and hoping to survive, maybe you're not doing your job well. So Taunt is going to come in the bot lane.
Yeah, just a wet noodle fight, nothing to see here. They will survive this, it's fine.
You say that, there's a good deal of damage down onto the Shen as the Fear Beyond Death comes through. They might just be looking for the execute, the flash is available, but playing a bit more safely. Meanwhile, buying space on this Baron here. The Urgot playing ultra aggressive means that this could be snuck away, rather.
Yep. Cerberus doesn't have vision over this entire portion of jungle, so aren't actually able to contest this.
Real close there, the Glacial Prison almost coming in for the steal, but I don't think it would have been secured. Eventually smited away by Chen. Meanwhile, the wet noodle fight continues in the bot lane, but guess what? She is Baron buff now. It's that much more difficult.
Yeah, well, Shen has a turret, so he's just gonna chill behind it, and if Urgot tries to do anything, just taunt, and you know, once Urgot takes 1 or 2 turret shots, she's just gonna back away. Third, Cloud Drake though going over to the side of Cerberus shouldn't see much of a contest. Jarvan is waiting in the wings. Nah, it should be going down soon. Yeah. Wait.
They're not very good in terms of positioning. You can see the Shen recalling, and the jungler in the form of Sejuani is backing off. It will be smited away by Chen. Not sure what they were doing there. Thank you for the leash, Knightress says as they walk away. A bit of a miscommunication issue coming through there. You could see Shen was recalling, not in time to get back and rejoin the fight. So they started up and opted to back off.
Yep, there should have been a free dragon over to Cerberus, but you know, like you said, a bit of a misplay. Did cause it going over to now very speedy Knightress squad.
3 Cloud Drakes is the equivalent of having an extra set of boots. I mean, if you have two legs, you should have 2 boots, but I don't know why League only gives you 1.
Okay. Sure, I mean, what do I even say to that at this point? Like, okay.
You could say that the gank is going to be happening on the top side on Urgot as the taunt comes in. There's 4 members here. She flashes over the wall.
Good flash.
And we'll get the blast cone out. No one's there to really follow up. If you want to go through, it's 4 flashes, burn in response. So manages to get out of that play and buy some space for her bot lane to get the inner turret as well.
Yeah, playing the 1-3-1, you send 4 members up to deal with the Urgot. You don't find the kill, and the rest of Urgot's squad just comes in and mops up.
Right now, taking the bare brunt of the aggression is going to be Chen taunting forward. Now the Shen not really finding anyone as the tidal wave was used to enforce the engage. This is a fight split on multiple fronts as the Shen is going to be the first one to fall. Meanwhile, bound up and going down. It's going to be the Vladimir Ignite taking down the stopwatch. Not really going to do all too much. And like I said, if you're going in with the stopwatch and hoping to survive, it is the wrong train of thought as 2 members will fall here. As no, make it 3. Chloe finds the solo kill. AMGD.Knightress now pushing on the base, looking to clean this game up as they focus down the Nexus turrets.
You send 4 members, kill the Urgot, you don't find the kill, then you send 4 members bot, you get killed, and then you lose the game. That's how this happened.
That's a fuse ban. Nexus is gonna fall on AMGD.Knightress with a very dominant game, pushing forward now to the next round in the winner's bracket.
Just a discrepancy in macro game from both these squads. Cerberus with some questionable late game communications. But we do see Knightress come out with a win. I think it was pretty dominant, pretty good showing from the entire squad.
I think the story of the game to me was the value of teleports. At every turn of the game, Chloe teleporting earlier and Urgot teleporting earlier. If you're wondering why I don't refer to her by name, it's just because it's a bunch of letters, right?
Yep.
Both of the solo laners getting early to the party is just so crucial because then their impact is more pronounced. They turn to find their favor. They find picks off the bat just like that.
Yep. And if you look at this graph, do we have the graph up?
I think we do have the graph up on the main screen.
Alright, well, if you look at this graph, I think it really shows the damage discrepancy coming in from both these squads. Like you said, Vladimir and Caitlyn at that point where the fights were breaking out did not have the damage where you could look for those fights. So definitely that was one factor as to why they lost. And
all credit to the rest of the team to support this losing Varus Morgana, because we saw early on that they did die 2v2. Right? They died 2v2 to Caitlyn and Nami, but when the play was made, when the call was to reinforce the bot lane and counter gank with the teleports, it was magnificent, right? Every time a play was made to try and get the Caitlyn and Nami even more ahead, the response came through from their teammates, the counter ganks came through, and Chloe and company was there to make sure the kills did not happen.
Right. I mean, I 100% agree. I mean, Chloe's initial teleport to the bot lane, I cannot praise that enough. Like, the moment the fight started, that teleport was down. So I think that was very crucial in turning the bot lane around, which ultimately allowed them to look for this win.
The thing about Caitlyn as well, we always talk about this, if you don't come out of lane ahead, or if you're losing lane, it's that much more difficult to stay afloat, because then you don't have your strongest sort of strength or your threat available, which is the ability to harass and walk up.
Yep.
You don't have that available, you just you roll over and die, essentially. Okay guys, with that we will be going for a short break, but when we come back, I believe it's gonna be top 10 dinos going up against, we have the bracket up for you, Parabellum, yes. We have the bracket up for you during the pause screen. But for now, we'll be going for a short break, and when we come back, we'll see you right here on stream.